Failure is a concept that haunts every human being. From the moment we take our first steps, stumble and fall, to the biggest setbacks in our careers and personal lives, failure is inevitable. Yet how we respond to failure defines who we are and who we become. The great Greek philosopher Aristotle saw failure not as a dead end, but as a crucial part of the human journey toward virtue and flourishing, what he called Eudaimonia. In this video, we will explore Aristotle's insights on how to handle failure and how polymaths throughout history have turned setbacks into stepping stones for success. If you are ready to transform your relationship with failure, welcome to the Aristotle channel. Part 1. The meaning of failure through Aristotle's lens. Aristotle believed that everything in nature has a purpose, a telos. For humans, this purpose is to live a life of flourishing, to achieve eudaimonia. Failure, then, can be understood as falling short of this purpose. But crucially, Aristotle did not see failure as an end. Instead, failure is an essential part of learning and growth. Just as a craftsman hones their skill by trial and error, so too does a person develop virtue by encountering and overcoming obstacles. Failure reveals weakness, but it also reveals opportunity. It shows where we lack virtue, be it courage, temperance, or wisdom, and invites us to cultivate those virtues more deeply. Part 2. Virtue and habit, the core of Aristotle's philosophy. According to Aristotle, virtues are habits, not fixed traits. They are developed through repeated actions. When facing failure, your response is a habit in formation. Will you respond with resilience and courage, or with despair and avoidance? This choice is the essence of virtue ethics. For example, courage lies between the extremes of recklessness and cowardice. When you fail, responding with reckless denial or overwhelming fear is missing the mark. The virtuous response lies in the golden mean, a balanced, reasoned approach that acknowledges the pain but also embraces the challenge. Part 3. Understanding failure with Aristotle's four causes. One of Aristotle's greatest contributions is his theory of the four causes, a method for understanding why things happen. Applied to failure, this can help us analyze it deeply. Material cause. What materials or resources were involved? Did you have the necessary tools or knowledge? Formal cause. What was the plan or structure? Was it logically sound? Efficient cause. Who or what caused the failure? What actions led to the result? Final cause. What was the goal or purpose? Was it aligned with your true values? By breaking failure down into these causes, you can pinpoint exactly where things went wrong and what can be changed moving forward. Part 4. Embracing the golden mean in response to failure. Aristotle's idea of the golden mean, the virtuous middle between two extremes, is especially helpful in learning how to handle failure. When we fail, emotions often pull us toward extremes. Excessive despair or self-pity can lead to paralysis. Reckless denial or blame shifting prevents genuine growth. The virtuous path is to find the balance. Feel your emotions fully but not let them control you. Reflect on your failure honestly but avoid obsessing over it. Take responsibility without self-condemnation. For example, if a project fails, instead of saying, "I'm worthless," or "This is no big deal, I'll ignore it," the golden mean encourages you to say, "This hurts, and I need to learn what went wrong so I can do better next time." This balanced response builds character over time and helps you grow stronger from each failure. Part 5. The role of reason and self-mastery, Enkrateia. One of Aristotle's central concepts is Enkrateia, or self-mastery. It is the ability to govern your desires and emotions by reason. Failure stirs powerful feelings, shame, anger, frustration. Aristotle's advice is not to suppress these feelings, but to use reason to regulate them. Feel your disappointment and pain. Recognize these emotions without being overwhelmed. Choose your response thoughtfully. By practicing Enkrateia, you build resilience. You learn to separate your identity from your failure. You become someone who controls their reactions rather than being controlled by them. This mental discipline is the foundation for lifelong learning and success. Part 6. Lessons from Polymaths, turning failure into fuel for growth. Aristotle himself was a polymath, mastering many fields from logic to biology. History's great polymaths, Leonardo da Vinci, Benjamin Franklin, Marie Curie, offer powerful examples of how to use failure constructively. Leonardo da Vinci spent years on inventions and artworks that never saw completion. His failures were experiments that fed his creativity and knowledge. Marie Curie faced rejection and hardship in a male-dominated scientific world, but persisted and revolutionized physics and chemistry. Benjamin Franklin famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work," illustrating his relentless curiosity. Their secret was a broad approach, learning from diverse fields, applying new perspectives, and embracing failure as a natural part of discovery. So when you fail, don't just dwell on the setback. Expand your knowledge, try new methods, and connect ideas across disciplines. This polymathic mindset transforms failure from a wall into a doorway. Part 7. Practical steps to handle failure, using Aristotle's philosophy. Let's translate these timeless insights into practical steps you can take right now. Pause and reflect. Don't react impulsively. Give yourself time to process your emotions. Analyze the failure using the 4 causes. What materials, plans, actions, and goals contributed to the result? Find the golden mean. Avoid extremes of despair or denial. Aim for balanced, reasoned reflection. Practice Enkrateia. Observe your emotions. Govern your responses through rational self-control. Embrace polymathy, read broadly. Learn new skills. Look for unexpected connections. Develop virtue habits. Face failure with courage, honesty, and perseverance daily. Seek guidance. Consult mentors, friends, or philosophical texts to gain perspective. Take thoughtful action plan, your next steps with wisdom, informed by your reflection. Part 8. Failure as an opportunity for flourishing. Aristotle's ultimate teaching is hopeful. Failure is not a barrier, but a doorway to Eudaimonia, a flourishing life. Every failure is a chance to practice virtues, develop wisdom, and move closer to your true purpose. When you shift your view from failure as defeat to failure as feedback, your whole life changes. You learn to welcome challenges, knowing they refine your character and open new possibilities. Part 9. Failure and the development of practical wisdom, phronesis. One of Aristotle's key concepts is phronesis, or practical wisdom. This is the ability to make good decisions in complex, uncertain situations. Failure is one of the best teachers of practical wisdom. When we fail, we gain information we wouldn't have had otherwise. We learn what works, what doesn't, and why. Practical wisdom is not theoretical knowledge. It is tested in real life. It grows when we reflect honestly on our failures and apply those lessons moving forward. Consider an entrepreneur who launches a product that flops. The failure teaches them about market demand, product design, or marketing strategy. They then adjust and try again with better insight. The key is reflection. Without reflecting on failure, experience is wasted. Aristotle encourages us to cultivate phronesis by learning from every mistake. Part 10. The role of community in handling failure. Aristotle famously said that humans are zoon politikon, political animals who flourish in community. Failure is often isolating. Shame and embarrassment can lead us to withdraw. But Aristotle's philosophy reminds us that flourishing happens in relationship. Sharing your failures with trusted friends, mentors, or philosophical communities can provide perspective, encouragement, and constructive feedback. The virtuous friend helps you see your blind spots and supports you in practicing courage and perseverance. Remember, no one flourishes alone. Part 11. The Stoic connection, acceptance, and control. Though Aristotle and the Stoics had differences, their philosophies complement each other in handling failure. The Stoics teach the distinction between what is within our control and what is not. Failure often involves factors outside our control, others' actions, luck, circumstances. Aristotle focuses on virtue and character, while Stoics emphasize acceptance. By combining these, you can cultivate virtue in your responses, accept what you cannot change, focus energy on what you can improve. This dual approach reduces suffering and strengthens resilience. Part 12. famous failures in history and their lessons. Let's briefly look at some iconic historical figures who faced failure and used it as fuel for greatness. Thomas Edison. He famously said, "I have not failed. I've just found 10,000 ways that won't work." Edison's persistence led to the invention of the electric light bulb. J.K. Rowling. Rejected by multiple publishers, Rowling's perseverance brought us the Harry Potter phenomenon. Abraham Lincoln. Lost several elections and faced personal tragedies before becoming one of America's greatest presidents. These stories show the virtues Aristotle champions: perseverance, courage, practical wisdom, and the golden mean between despair and reckless optimism. Part 13. Polymathy as a strategy for resilience. Polymathy, the pursuit of knowledge across multiple fields, develops flexibility in thought and skill. When failure strikes in one area, polymaths draw on other skills and insights to adapt and innovate. Leonardo da Vinci combined art, engineering, anatomy, and more, turning failures in one field into inspiration in another. Polymathy trains the mind to see connections others miss and to recover quickly from setbacks. So cultivating curiosity and diverse skills is itself a powerful way to handle failure. Part 14. Aristotle's doctrine of the mean and emotional intelligence. Handling failure also involves managing emotions wisely. Aristotle's doctrine of the mean applies to emotions. Avoid excess emotions like overwhelming grief or rage. Avoid deficiency like numbness or denial. Cultivate a balanced emotional response that aligns with reason. This balance is an early form of what modern psychology calls emotional intelligence, the ability to recognize, understand, and regulate emotions. By practicing this, you build the emotional resilience to face failure without losing your sense of self. Part 15. Practical exercises for cultivating virtue in the face of failure. Let's close this section with some practical exercises inspired by Aristotle. Reflective journaling. After a failure, write down what happened, how you felt, and what you learned. Analyze it through the 4 causes. Golden mean meditation. Identify if your response is excessive or deficient and imagine the balanced response you want to cultivate. Enkrateia. Practice. When emotions arise, pause, breathe deeply, and remind yourself to respond with reason. Polymathic exploration. Read or study something outside your usual interests to gain new perspectives. Seek virtuous role models. Learn from biographies or teachings of people who embody resilience and wisdom. Part 16. The importance of purpose and alignment in overcoming failure. Aristotle teaches that every action and decision should be aligned with your telos, your ultimate purpose or goal. When you fail, it's important to revisit this purpose. Ask yourself, was the goal I pursued truly aligned with my values and purpose? Did I chase something because it looked good on the surface or because it fulfills my deeper aims? How can this failure redirect me towards a more authentic, meaningful path? Sometimes failure happens because we pursue ends that are not genuinely ours but socially imposed or fleeting desires. Recentering on purpose allows you to see failure not as defeat, but as a corrective compass guiding you toward what truly matters. Part 17. Cultivating patience and long-term thinking. Aristotle's virtue ethics emphasize habits formed over time. Failure often demands patience. Many failures arise because of unrealistic expectations for quick success. Instead, practice long-term thinking. Recognize that mastery and virtue develop gradually. Accept that failures today plant seeds for future growth. View life as a marathon, not a sprint. Polymaths like Da Vinci spent decades refining their craft. Their persistence was sustained by patience and a love for lifelong learning. Cultivating patience helps you endure failure without despair and keeps you motivated on your path. Part 18. The role of curiosity and wonder. One of Aristotle's most beautiful ideas is that human beings are naturally curious and driven by wonder. Curiosity is a powerful antidote to the fear of failure. Instead of fearing mistakes, approach them as experiments to understand the world better. When you face failure, ask, what new insight can I gain from this experience? What questions does this failure raise that I can explore? How can I turn this disappointment into a learning adventure? This mindset transforms failure from a threat into an opportunity for discovery, much like a scientist investigating nature's mysteries. Part 19. The balance between ambition and humility. Handling failure requires balancing two virtues, ambition and humility. Ambition pushes you to strive, to take risks, and to pursue excellence. Humility keeps you grounded, open to feedback, and aware of your limits. Aristotle's golden mean lies in neither excessive pride nor self-deprecation, but in knowing your true worth. Part 20. Failure, identity, and self-concept. Many people tie their identity too closely to their successes or failures. Aristotle would caution against this because identity is shaped by enduring virtues and character, not temporary events. Your failure is an event, not a definition. Reflect on the qualities that persist beyond success and failure. Are you honest? Are you courageous? Are you compassionate? These virtues define you more than any outcome. Separating your identity from failure frees you from despair and opens space for new attempts. Part 21. Failure as a catalyst for creativity. Many polymaths turned failure into creative breakthroughs. When one approach failed, they experimented with new techniques, ideas, or perspectives. Failures often dismantle rigid thinking and force innovative solutions. Aristotle's emphasis on practical wisdom encourages flexibility, experimentation, and adaptation. So instead of fearing failure, embrace it as a catalyst that pushes you beyond the known into creative new territory. Part 22. Cultivating gratitude in the face of failure. It might seem counterintuitive, but Aristotle's philosophy supports the cultivation of gratitude, even toward failure. Why? Because failure teaches humility, reveals hidden truths, and strengthens resilience. By practicing gratitude for failures, you shift from seeing them as punishments to viewing them as teachers. Try this simple exercise. Each day, write down one failure experience and list what it taught you or how it helped you grow. Over time, this builds a mindset where failure is an essential, even welcome, part of your journey. Part 23. How to share failure authentically. Aristotle valued honesty and authenticity. Sharing your failures with others fosters connection and learning. Authentic sharing builds trust, removes stigma from failure, opens pathways for advice and collaboration. In your community or online, consider being open about your setbacks and what you learned. This creates a culture that values growth over perfection. Part 24. Aristotle's legacy in modern psychology on failure. Modern psychology echoes many Aristotelian ideas. Growth mindset, Carol Dweck, parallels Aristotle's view of virtue as developable. Emotional regulation aligns with Enkrateia. Resilience training reflects Aristotle's emphasis on habituation. Understanding this connection shows how ancient wisdom remains relevant and powerful for handling failure today. Part 25. Final practical reflections. Before we conclude, here are some final reflections to carry with you. Failure is inevitable, but not final. Virtue develops through facing failure wisely. Reason, courage, and self-mastery are your allies. Learn broadly, think deeply, and act purposefully. Embrace failure as a friend, not an enemy. Part 26. Summary and key takeaways. Throughout this exploration, we have seen that failure is not something to be feared or avoided, but embraced as a fundamental part of the human journey toward flourishing. Key takeaways. Aristotle teaches us to view failure through the lens of virtue ethics. Failure reveals where we must cultivate courage, patience, honesty, and wisdom. The golden mean guides us to respond to failure with balanced emotions, avoiding extremes of despair or denial. The practice of Enkrateia, or self-mastery, enables us to regulate our emotional responses and maintain rational control. Practical wisdom, phronesis, grows through reflection on failures, helping us make better choices next time. A polymathic approach, diversifying knowledge and skills, builds resilience and opens creative possibilities in the face of setbacks. Aligning actions with our telos, or true purpose, provides direction and meaning even when we stumble. Failure fosters curiosity, humility, patience, and gratitude, which are essential virtues for growth. Sharing failure authentically builds community and normalizes the experience as part of learning. Modern psychology confirms and supports Aristotle's timeless insights about growth, resilience, and emotional regulation. Part 27. Final encouragement for your journey. If there is one message to take from Aristotle, it is this: your failures do not define you. Your virtue, courage, and reason in responding to them do. Each time you fall, you have an opportunity to rise wiser, stronger, and more aligned with your purpose. Remember that flourishing, Eudaimonia, is a lifelong practice of learning, growing, and cultivating excellence in character. Embrace failure as your ally on this journey. Thank you for watching this deep dive into how to handle failure with wisdom inspired by Aristotle and the great Polymaths. If you found value in this video, please like, share, and subscribe to the Aristotle channel, where we explore philosophy and practical wisdom for living a flourishing life. Leave a comment below sharing your experiences with failure or your favorite Aristotelian insight.